22 up to 26 I thought we'd do one. So let's get started. It's only 19, which is only 72. Well, let's get started. The cat won't come in. She isn't really at her food. Mum said that she's in a mood. She doesn't want food. And she won't come inside. But she only really stays in the garden or goes to the next door neighbour's garden. So really, she's in a yeah. We ended on page 140. Didn't we? Okay, so let's get started. So, a person of her road untied the strings of the rusty bonnet under his chin. "You're the very image of her," she giggled. "Only I'm sure you never looked half so respectful in all your life before. Now goodbye, Toad, and good luck. Go straight down the way you came up, and if anyone says anything to you, as they probably will, being but men, you can back a bit, of course, but remember you're a widow woman, quite alone in the world, with a character to lose." With a creaking heart, but as firm a footstep as he could command, Todd stepped occasionally on what seemed to be a most harebrained and horizon undertaking. But he was soon agreeably surprised to find how easy everything was made for him, and a little humbled at the thought that his popularity and the circle that seemed to inspire it was really another's. The washerwoman's squat figure in its familiar cotton print seemed a passport for every board door and green gateway, even when he hesitated, uncertain as to the right turning to take. Himself helped out of his difficulty by the warwick watcher at the next gate, anxious to be off to his tea, summoning him to come along sharp, and not keeping him waiting there all night. The chaff and the humorous sailors to which he was subjected, and to which, of course, he had to provide prompt and effectively reply, formed, indeed, his chief danger. For Toad was an animal with a strong sense of his own dignity, and the chaff was mostly, he thought, poor and clumsy, and the humour of Sir Atlet's internally lacking. However, he kept his temper, though with great difficulty suited his resort to his company and his supposed character, and did his best not to overstep the limits of good taste. Sorry, my legs a bit itchy. It seemed hours before he crossed the last courtyard, rejected the passing invitations from the last guard room, and dodged the outspread arms of the last warder, pleading with similarly pushing for just one farewell embrace. But at last he heard the wicket gate and the gate outer door click behind him, felt the fresh air of outer wood upon his anxious brow, and he knew that he was free. Thither, with easy success of his darling exploit, he walked quickly towards the lights of the town, not knowing in the least what he should do next, only quite certain of one thing, that he must remove himself as quickly as possible from a neighbourhood where the lady he was forced to represent was so well known and so popular a character. As he walked along, considering his attention was caught by some red and green lights a little way off, to one side of the town, and the sound of puffing and snorting of engines and the banging of some trucks fell on his ear. Ah, he thought, this is a piece of luck. A railway station is the thing I want most in the world. In the whole world at this moment. And what's more, I needn't go through the town to get to it, and shan't have to support this humiliating character by respects which, though fairly effective, do not assist one's sense of self-respect. He made his way to the station accordingly, consulted a timetable, and found that a train, bound more or less in the direction of his home, was due to start in half an hour. More look towards said, his spirits rising rapidly, and went off to the booking office to buy his ticket. He gave the name of the station that he knew to be nearest to the village of which Todd Hall was the principal feature, and manically put his fingers in search of the necessary money, where his waistcoat pocket should have been, but here the cotton gown, which had nobly stood by him so far, and which he had brazenly forgotten, inverted and frustrated his efforts. In a sort of nightmare, he struggled with the strange, uncanny thing that seemed to hold his hands, turn on muscles strangling to water, and laugh at him all the time, which other travellers, forming up in a line behind, waited with impatience, making suggestions of more or less value and comments of more or less symmetry and point. At least somehow, he never rightfully understood how, he burst the barriers, attended the goal, arrived at where our waistcoat pockets are certainly suited, and found not only no money, but no pocket to hold it, and no waistcoat to hold the pocket. To his horror, he recollected that he had left both coat and waistcoat behind him in his cell, and with them his pocket-book, money, keys, watch, matches, pencil case, all that makes life worth living, all the dignity, the many-pocketed animal, the lord of creation, from the infinite one-pocketed or no-pocketed productions that hop or trip about presently, unequipped for the real contest. By the way, this and this on my arm are not real, they're just anime tattoos, and you kind of wash them off with water. In his misery, he made one desperate effort to carry the thing off, and with a return to his final manner, a blend of the square and the courage dawn, he said, "Look here, I find I've left my purse behind. Just give me that ticket, will you? And I'll send the money on tomorrow. I'm well known in these parts." The clerk stared at him and the rusty black bonnet a moment, and then laughed. "I should think you were pretty well known in these parts," he said, "if you tried this game on often. Here, stand away from the window, please, ma'am. You're distracting the other passengers." An old gentleman who had been prodding him in the back for some moments here pushed him away, and what was worse, addressed him as a good woman, which angered the Tom more than anything that had occurred that evening. Baffled and full of despair, he wandered blindly down the platform where the train was standing, and tears trickled down each side of his nose. It was hard, he thought, to withstand sight of safety and almost home, and to be balked by the want of a few reckless singing and the pettifours misfullest of paid officials. Very soon his escape would be discovered. The hunt would be up. He would be caught, revealed, loaded with chains, dragged back again to prison, and bread and water and straw. His guards and penalties would be doubled, and oh, what second remarks the girl would make! What was to be done? He was not swift of foot. His figure was unfortunately recognizable. Could he not squeeze under the seat of a carriage? He had seen this method adopted by schoolboys when the journey money provided by thoughtful parents had been diverted to the other and better ends. As he pondered, he found himself opposite the engine, which was being oiled, wiped, and gently cursed by its affectionate driver. A burly man with an oil can in one hand and a lump of cotton waste in the other. "Hello, mother," said the engine driver. "What's the trouble? You don't look particularly cheerful." "Oh, sir," said Toad, crying afresh, "I'm a poor unhappy washerwoman, and I've lost all my money, and can't pay for a ticket, and I must get home tonight somehow, and whatever I am to do, I don't know. Oh dear, oh dear." "That's a bad business indeed," said the engine driver, reluctantly. "Lost your money and can't get home, and got some kids too waiting for you, I dare say." "Any amount of them," sobbed Toad, "and they'll be hungry and playing with matches and upsetting lamps. The little innocents, and quarrelling and going on generally. Oh dear, oh dear." "Well, I'll tell you what I'll do," said the good engine driver. You're a washerman to your trade," says you. "Very well, that's that. And I'm an engine driver as well, may you see, and there's no denying it's a terrible dirty work. Uses up a power of shirts, it does." "Till my machine is very tired of washing them. If you'll wash a few shirts for me when you get home and send them along, I'll give you a ride on my engine. It's against the company's regulations, but we're not so very particular in these out-of-the-way parts." The mole's misery turned into rapture as he eagerly scrambled up into the cab of the engine, of course. He had never washed a shirt in his life, and couldn't if he tried, and anyhow he wasn't going to begin, but he thought, when I get safely home to Toad Hall and have money again and pockets to put in, I will send the engine driver enough to pay for quite an eternity of washing, and that will be the same thing, or better. The guard waved his welcome flag, The engine driver whistled in cheerful response, and the train moved out of the station. As the speed increased, and the toad could see on either side of him real fields and trees and hedges and crows and horses all flying past him, and as he thought how every minute was bringing him nearer to Total and sympathetic friends, and money to tick in his pocket, and a soft bed to sleep in, and good things to eat, and praise and admiration at the listening of his adventures and surpassing cleverness, he began to skip up and down and shout and sing snatches of song, to the great emotion of the engine driver who had come across washerwomen before, at long intervals, but never one at all like this. I'm going to read it again tomorrow before I go and do I'll do a live small maybe. So we're on page 146 and we started at 140. We only have this little bit back here. 4, 6 more pages for tomorrow.